Hello friends, this is Ganesh. This is a continuation video. Please watch the previous video. The link has been provided in the description. In this video, we are going to see HDFS architecture. This is the HDFS architecture. This is a master-slave architecture. Here, name node is the master and data nodes are the slaves. For every operation required by the client, it needs to get the data from name node. Name node maintains the metadata of all the operations. Read, write, rename, delete. All the operations will be maintained in the metadata by name node. In the same way, the replications also maintained by the name node. The first operation is from the client. Client will request data from data node to read. The data node will approach the name node for required metadata. The metadata in the name node will provide the required information for the data node. We can have only one name node in a cluster. In the same way, we could have multiple data nodes in the cluster. Each node will have one data node. Here we could see 5 nodes in the cluster. Each node will have a data node. If we have a replication of 3, we will have data in 3 nodes. One here, and one here. This is how replication will work. We will see other characteristics of HDFS architecture. As mentioned, HDFS has a master-slave architecture. It consists of single name node. It is the master that manages the file system and regulates access to files by clients. In addition, there are number of data nodes, usually one per node in the cluster, which manages storage attached to the node that they are unknown. HDFS exposes a file system namespace and allows user data to be stored in files. Internally, a file split into one or more blocks, and these blocks are stored in a set of data nodes as we shown in the previous slide. The name node executes file system namespace operations like opening, closing, and renaming files and directories. It also determines the mapping of blocks to data nodes. The data nodes are responsible for reading, writing requests from the clients. Data nodes also perform block creation, deletion, replication upon instructions from data nodes. We will see few characteristics of HDFS architecture. The first one is robustness. The primary objective of HDFS is to store data reliably even in presence of failure. This is how it maintains the robustness. We'll see how robustness will be maintained. We could have a data disk failure. In that case, how it is handled. Each data node sends a heartbeat message to name node periodically. The name node marks data node without recent heartbeat as dead and does not forward any new IO requests to them. A data node death may cause the replication factor of some blocks to fall below the specified value. The name node constantly tracks which blocks need to be replicated and initiates replication whenever necessary. We could validate the replication from the architecture. Let us consider a block got corrupted. So the name node will take care of replicating the block. The next one is data integrity. It is possible that a block of data fetched from a data node arrives corrupted. This corruption can occur because of faults in storage device, network faults, or buggy software. The HDFS client software implements checksum, checking on the content of HDFS file. When a client creates a HDFS file, it computes a checksum of each block of the file and stores these checksum in a separate file hidden in the same HDFS namespace. When a client retrieves file contents, it verifies that the data is received from each node matches the checksum stored in the associated checksum file. If not, then the client can opt to retrieve that block from another data node that has a replica of that block. This is how integrity is maintained. We could have metadata failure. The FS image and edit logs are the central data structure of HDFS. This is the place where we'll have all operations on a file will be logged. A corruption of these files can cause HDFS instance to be non-functional. For this reason, the name node can be configured to support maintaining multiple copies of FS image and edit logs. Any update to either the FS image or edit log causes each of the files and each of the FS image and edit logs to get updated synchronously in another system. When name node restarts, it selects the latest consistent FS image and edit log to use. Another option to increase resilience against failure is to enable high availability using multiple name nodes, either with a shared storage on NFS or using a distributed edit log. The latter one is recommended approach. Next, we are going to see how data is organized in HDFS. Data blocks. HDFS is designed to support very large files. Applications that are compatible with HDFS are those that deal with large data sets. These applications write the data only once, but they read it one or more times and require these reads to be satisfied at streaming speed. HDFS supports write once and read many semantics. A typical block size used by HDFS is 128 MB. Thus, an HDFS file is chopped up into 128 MB chunks, and if possible, each chunk will reside on a different data node. The next one is replication pipeline. When a client is writing data to a HDFS file with a replication factor of 3, the name node retrieves a list of data nodes using a replication target choosing algorithm. This list contains the data nodes that will host a replica of that block. The client then writes to the first data node. The first data node starts receiving the data in portions, writes each portion to its local repository, and then transfers that portion to the second data node in the list. The second data node in turn starts receiving each portion of the data block, writes that portion to its repository, and then flushes that portion to the third data node. Finally, the third data node writes the data to its local repository. Thus, a data node can be receiving data from the previous one in the pipeline and the same time forwarding data to the next one in the pipeline. Thus, the data is pipelined from one data node to next one. The next one is accessibility. We could access the HDFS system using FS shell. The FS shell is targeted for applications that need a scripting language to interact with the stored data. The command hdfs dfs-ls/user/hdfs will list the files and directories in the HDFS folder. We could use a dfs admin for admin operations. The dfs admin command set is used for administrating an HDFS cluster. These are commands that are used only by an HDFS administrator. We will execute these commands to see how it works. hdfs-ls/user. hdfs-ls/user. The command will retrieve the directory and files under /user. In the same way, we could check the admin command. dfs admin -report. This provides the report of the HDFS system. Configured capacity, DFS used, DFS remaining, present capacity, data nodes, name node host, and other informations. In the next video, we will see Yarn architecture. Thank you. Have a good day.